Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yahweh. Have some poetry today. Have some singing today.
Hallelujah.
Blessed to have a brother in our midst again. I know he's going to grace the mic, I hope. All right. But we have our poet laureates. Two, that it don't matter. Knock yourself out. All right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
All praises to y'all for today. It's a wonderful day. Great to see everyone. This one is Israel. Y'all, we thank you for all you do for us. Even though we fall sometimes. Oh, yeah. Let it, our shortcomings not be discussed. A discussion. Enlighten our to strive to be increasing in your ways, to walk in your ways each and every day, and remember how blessed we are to be grateful for what we have. Y'all, don't let us I apologize. Y'all, don't let us be strife and struggles like don't let us concentrate on our struggles like they're bigger than you. Y'all, give us the mind to be joyful in you have blessed us with. Righteousness is our armor to wear it in the glory of Yah. Every moment of the day you give us. Lessons of life you've given us through the prophets' teachings in all the years, months, and days. Yah, thank you for Israel letting us know and who we are. Not to be proud to the point of defeat. Oh, Yah, Israel lives in Yahweh's beat. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yahweh, we sing. One day I was walking, as a Christian do, not the words of Yahweh. Can I keep you in mind, Yahweh? Know what time it is. I made a terrible mistake, if only I knew. Never forget who Yahweh is. Keep your head to the sky. Remember, fringes each and every day. You need to cut it and get it right with Yahweh. I'm a soldier in the army of Yahweh because he is the king of Israel. Death before dishonor. Yahweh. Praise Yahweh in the dance. Leaving false gods. Bye-bye. I don't know, but this is for you, you, and you. We're whipping Yahweh, knocking down the heathens. Never give up. Yahweh will lighten your mind. Where we be if we did not praise Yahweh? Where would we be if we did not praise Yahweh? We woke up this morning with the wisdom that the revolution won't be televised. Yahweh truly loves Israel. Yahweh is all the power. There's a ship coming to take us home. Glorious. We know Yahweh. I love to call the name of Yahweh like I'm calling my daddy out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Any more poets? Poetry? And then we're gonna bring up brother. Then we're gonna bring our brother with the smooth and mellow sounds.
There you go.
We're gonna bring him on up, let him kick it off. And then we're gonna work our way on down. Now, brother Ben,
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
how you doing?
Smoky, right? Yes. He turned 74. You know who knows about all of this? You can't tell yourself. That's what he did. If I had to find, I like to Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's a horror. Yeah, it's a horror. It's a horror about it. Oh, no. I thought some people like Jordan is too. I like Jordan. Yeah, stop it. And wait a minute. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I'll tell you something. Young lion, yeah. Hello, young lion. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Georgia.
Listen to their story.
I gotta get that on my phone now. I gotta get that one on my phone.
There you go.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
What's missing in action? You had to wait his turn. Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Yes, sir.
Hi.
Say,
Hi. Brandon, don't Brandon got it. No, we got. Oh, y'all get it? Oh, okay.
you better tear it up.
Good go.
All right. Hallelujah.
King, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you doing your blue tape off?
Turn your Bluetooth off, brother. All right. Yeah, the mellow sound's gone. He gave us one and teased us, and that was it.
Shabbat shalom. Before you start that up, there, the Most High just been giving me this, and I just want to run through it a little bit. I mean, this could really turn into a group, congregation after. And it's just simply something real simple. Shalom, shalom, shalom on the Shabbat day. Shalom, shalom, shalom on the Shabbat day. Shabbat day, Shabbat day, Shabbat day, Shabbat day. Thank you, Yahweh, for the Shabbat day. Thank you, Yahweh, for the Shabbat day. Shalom, shalom, shalom on the Shabbat day. Shalom, shalom, shalom on the Shabbat day. Shabbat day, Shabbat day, Shabbat day, Shabbat day. Thank you, Yahweh, for the Shabbat day. Thank you, Yahweh, for the Shabbat day. Just a little something, but as I come around, I'll come back around, most I get the feeling more and more. We can all be saying it together, and that'll be good. I think.
Hallelujah.
Well, but in the meantime, in between time, I want to drop Yah's Savior. Yah is the Savior of Israel. Yah is the Lord of Israel. Yah is the light of Israel. Yah is the way that we should be. Yah chose Jacob and changed his name. Changed his name to Israel. Yah promised he would always be around and be a father to his son. Yah is the Savior of Israel. Yah is the Lord of Israel. Yah is the light of Israel. Yah is the way that we should live. chose Moshe to be the leader of his holy seed. And after Moshe, God chose Yahshua to lead Israel to the promised land with the passing of time. Turn his back on his holy faith. And so God gave him up to his heart's desire. Scattered us amongst the nations. Yah is the Savior of the yes. Yah is the Peace Israel, return to God. Let God know we love Him. And if we will return, God will return to us. So peace Israel, return to God. God is the Savior of Israel. Yah is the ruler of Israel. Yah is Yah is the Savior of Israel. Yah is the hope of Israel. Yah is the light of Israel. Yahweh is the way. Hallelujah. The voice is a little in and out there, so we crack sometimes. What up? Pop it on. Let's do I love ya. That's a good one. I love ya. Yeah, Hilkiah wrote this years ago when she was on the planet Earth. It's just a dedication. Mother. Huh? Yeah, I mean. I love you, and what does he want for all of us? us to do, but follow Yahweh's laws like He commands us to do. I love Yahweh. God, God bless me with another day. And what does He want for all of us to do? But follow Yahweh's laws like He commands us to do. I love Yahweh because Yah blessed me with one more day. And what does He want for all of us to do? To keep His commandments, to praise His name, to walk in His glory, to tell His story. He wants us. He wants us. He wants us. He wants us to keep His commandments, to praise His name, to walk in His glory, to tell His story. Because You want for all of us to do, but follow Yahweh's laws like He commands us to do. I know what You want us to do. Hallelujah. One more?
One more.
Okay. I gotta give him a couple more minutes. All right, okay.
Black
I got one take. Babylon, you wrong.
Babylon, you wrong.
Let's do that. Everybody all right?
Good.
My voice cracking a little bit, but hey.
Getting younger.
No? Okay. What's that? Got it? You got it?
Yes, sir.
Drop it. Hey, whoa, whoa. Hey, the Bible. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, yeah. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, yeah. 100 million little passage, stored back the way life, unused baggage, crying as we dying one another. Oh, 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 oh. Babylon, your history proves you wrong. Your money told you so. For the riches and your board. Do the young bloody old. What a time will come. Who would have guessed you are really lit? On top of that, the New Testament makes us in chains, changed our names. Until this day, we are destroyed. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Practice with the whip. Let's turn around and worship the wagon on the scene. Let you I praise. God giving us a God. They could not say. Baby, like your history proves you're wrong. When they was returned, we like to shout when God behind you be burned. No more mental everything tonight to the youth. The right to prevail with the other this soon. The right to go back and be strong and bold. The next to that judgment on the head of the one Lord. The two have been told of the days of old. The things shall be told and no cry no more. Yeah, 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 yeah. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Oh, wicked Babylon, yes, your time has come. By the hand of God, you will fall. Murderers, child molesters, and rapists of our mothers. Whoa, Babylon, you will fall. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. Babylon, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. One day, as of the voices of Zion, rise, rise, rise. You got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's knock it out. Hey. One day. Now notice, come on. One day. One day you shall see oh, greatness of the Almighty. Just as you know, but I love more than higher than one day we shall see oh, greatness of the Almighty. Just as you know, and I love more than higher and all the prophets that came before me. Life was changed. No more visions come, even mistaken. One day, we shall be free. Free from madness, free from sadness, and from poverty. Free from captivity. One day, yeah, the Almighty will be with us. One day, the Almighty will fight for us. One day, you put that light in the dust. In Him
Hallelujah.
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 Give another round of applause. Again, hallelujah. Don't have to turn there. Let me read something. As soon as I get it, I have to turn there.
My Lord.
You know, once I start reading it.
And the Lord.
To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time for everything.
Great man of wisdom.
And we do enjoy ourselves. But when they sing, it's time to get loose.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Time to praise God.
The looser we get, I said the looser we get, the congregation get, the more the singer is going
That's it.
to feed off of us. No matter who the singer be. The more energy we give them, the more energy they're going to give us.
Hallelujah.
The more spirit we give them, the more spirit they're going to give us.
Hallelujah.
We've been teaching all day, we are spirit type people.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right.
That's all. See, I've studied, and although maybe not the information disseminated, but I've studied our great orators. And great orators are like singers. They start off slow, but they crescendo. That's what made the Malcolm X's, Martin Luther King's, Louis Farrakhan. That's what make them what they are, and that's the mastery of it. As I said, I studied King's speech on the Mall. By the time he got done with his speech on the Mall, that state trooper that was standing behind him to his left side had to catch himself. There was people around him, but he had to catch himself because he was on duty, so he wasn't supposed to be breaking his duty. But two, he was amongst all these folks, and he was white. But King hit him and hit, and you saw him, baby. Oh, wait a minute. Come on, dude. He had him.
Caught up in the moment.
He caught up in him, he swept him away. He swept him away. And so it's the time and the season for everything under the sun. When they, in scripture, when they break forth and singing and dancing, it's all right to get carried away in the singing and the dancing. You don't have to sit there like stumps on the log. That's what it's called. It's called praising the Almighty. It's called praising the Almighty with no shame. That's right. David did. A great man in him, David did. And he made no apologies about it. And then his son Solomon, when he built the temple, he specifically grabbed the order of Levites after they ordered just to sing. And he said they had them in there, all the Luther Vandrosses and Smokey Robinsons and Freddie Jackson was in there singing so good that the place filled up with smoke. And the Almighty said, wait a minute, I want to hear this. And he came and descended in smoke and said, ran all the people out. Luther and Freddie, and I ran them all out. They couldn't go back in there. Yeah. The temptation, ooh, yeah, you said, oh, who is this? And we are a spirit people. We're not like our counterparts that don't have spirits. See, I grew up in that area. I grew up monotone. You be up there fighting. On Saturday, I was wow Saturday. And you go to Sunday, you get the inspirational boy. Rudy. Whole new thing. You ready. And now that's what they're trying to do. You got white churches, you should see videos of it. They get drowned in there trying to be all of them. People are trying to sway. You just drop your head if you're you be walking out saying, who stole the soul? That's all you be walking out. All been imitated, but never duplicated. Don't forget that. All right? After saying all that, now it's time to listen to me and step back. That's what y'all said. That's good.
Bring it. That good.
I thought she was asking about me. She said, that good. I said, all right, there you go, confirmation, brother.
No, they eat these lollipops. It's been so long, man.
They wrap this up. They gotta ask if it's good to listen to me. Nah. Is there any questions as we embark on this second half? For the second half, any questions? Has anything to be taught on from anybody? Any questions from anybody as we embark on the second half? Any questions from anybody? And now I'm playing with my brother back there. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, you have a question. You already got a question, Lord. I got a testimony. And it almost Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. And I gave a lot of testimonies earlier today. And this one, it did not escape my mind. I'm still taken back by it. 2 days ago, I got a phone call, or my mom got a call, and said that one of my little cousins had passed. My little cousin, He's 33, 35 years old, but he passed of a heart attack. And I'm just saying, I was a little taken back and still is because I'm like, wow, at 30, 33, 35 years old, you really just truly, just now starting to find yourself as a man. You just now starting to realize and recognize what it is that you're trying to do with yourself or the direction you're actually trying to go in, or this is the woman that I want to be with. You just not really get into that phase. And for his life just to be taken away or for y'all just to call him home at such an early age, it just really just put a lot on my mindset and had me wondering, had me thinking, you know, and all I say is just praise y'all for the understanding and the guidance. So I guess I do got a question for you.
All right.
I do got a question.
Yes, sir.
What can one do? What can someone do that can actually help to improve their life? What can they do? What can they do? Because you know we do a lot of things in this life, you know, to try to help us sustain here and sustain there. And some of us get caught up in things that's just, here's the thing, all right? Here's the thing. From what my brother told me, or my baby brother told me. My baby brother is very, real deep in the street. You know, when you talk about someone you take in consideration of other people, my brother's so deep in the streets that before I get myself involved in anything that will result into a violent manner, I think about my baby brother. Because my baby brother is one of them ones, he don't care. If it's happening to his loved ones, his family, he don't care. He has no filter on him, on the levels or the grounds of what he will do. Cause he don't care what he wants. He got 6 numbers. He even care less. You know, my baby brother told me he could be a millionaire on the street before he do anything else. So I think about him before I go out into these tangents and these street lifestyle and doing all kinds of things. And then thinking about his life, I don't want to jeopardize his life. So what can one really do to sustain life, to sustain yourself? When you try, you don't want to get caught up in a lot of things. But like my little cousin, he got caught up in something that was so horrendous that ATF kicked in his door. And the first time they did that, they had to take him to a hospital because he had a mild heart attack then. So I don't know if it was from fear that caused his heart to get weakened, or I don't know if it was just a lack of taking care of himself, or it was just, as we all say, it was just his time, and that's how y'all called him home. So what can a man do? What can one do? What is a true remedy that will help you sustain life and sustain all these different ills and ills that we come into? Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I ain't go too much there.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Even if you did, it's too late now. Yes, sir, Brother Kawhi.
Real mild questions for you. I just wanted you to help me out in explaining the significance or the relativity of Babylon as it is in past and in present day.
All right. Yes, sir, young man. Hallelujah.
And I was asleep, I remember thinking, like that time. And so, you know, I wanted to think to myself, like, y'all, because I mean, it's kind of heavy on my nerves. So I asked him, like, y'all, for that, just wake me up, allowing me to be the first that I have so far. My father's birthday is in 2 days. You know, I'll pray one time y'all ever see it. I had a good time with him on my birthday. God willing, I pray I get the hang up and give him his. And my mom's birthday coming up too. But, you know, it's a lot of blessings that might be coming in. So I pray that I'm able to put those blessings. Yeah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Any other questions before we get started?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, Brother Rock. Yes, sir.
How can we distinguish and between a blessing and compassion from the Most High? Hallelujah. Good job.
Blessing and compassion from the Most High.
Yeah. I mean, in this land here, how can we actually identify what the blessing is, if it's a blessing? Or is what we call it a blessing being disguised, or not disguised, but are we, what we're calling a blessing, is it really a blessing, or is that mercy and compassion that we are receiving and not a blessing?
Maybe I should have kept my mouth
Ask and you shall receive what we got saying.
You don't want another one. I don't get another one, you know.
I can't get too much more.
I got one of those ding, 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 ding.
Come on with it.
Homework for this week, that's all right.
Come on with
Well,
it.
I wasn't going to just passion. I would like for you to touch on it this time, because I know you go in order. The necessity in the times in which we live for Israel in the different places of worship to monitor the behavior of others, that as we are under one roof, we are on an accord that's going to be a gold standard for the Most High.
Yeah.
I will make you that we're monitoring. Explain the necessity that in this day and time, it's period, but definitely now, to really be ready and prepared for what they're calling Israel's trouble, that we're monitoring each other with the gold standard that the Most High has set for us when we are under the roof of the Almighty on the Shabbat. You say basically,
Woo!
I guarantee you that's not where it's going. But did you understand? Did you get it?
Ask one more time.
okay,
One more time.
One more time. I want to be clear.
okay. Explain the necessity. I'll rephrase it, but I'm still using the same word, so make it be clear. Explain the necessity, at least on the Shabbat day, that when we come out as a unit, as a camp, as a Makaneh, that we are raising the bar for our activities under the roof that will be favorable to the Most High by us making sure we monitor each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Yes, I
Yeah.
think I got it that time.
Yeah.
I think I got it that time.
Yeah.
All right. Did I see one more hand? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Did somebody have? I thought- Oh, okay.
They waiting for that.
One day, your mind's gonna, we hope be with us. Hallelujah.
We got
Some of us, no matter what.
sustain. What can we do to sustain life? Was one question. We have Babylon, a past and a present. Mercy and compassion. And I'm going to blessing and compassion. Sorry. And I'm going to rephrase or phrase, that is a term I can phrase it in, that I understood it in. The last question. And because you use the term monitoring, but what I would say is expectation. I'll just label it as the expectation of Israel.
According to the Most High.
According to the Most High, because there's not another one source to give us the expectations. We're not talking about according to ourselves, but according to the Most High. Because it's like joining an analogy, it's like joining a championship team. One of the better teams in for this analogy. There's a team that's real successful. It's successful every year. It's been that way for the past 12 years. Decade. They up north, out of Boston. Football season. And people marvel at them. People marvel at them because something about this team is they can take other teams worse player, take their biggest headache and sign them.
Yes.
And when they get there, that player turns into an all pro caliber type player. And people be shaking it, we cut him and look what he's doing now. And he goes and becomes part of a winning championship team.
That Belichick thing.
Well, it's not only the Belichick thing, it's a culture
It is. It really is.
that once, see, you get there, because they have said it's not predicated, and that's why I said the expectation of Israel. And you said from who? We said from the Almighty, because it starts from the top.
There you go.
And everybody understand that coming in. And it's shown to you. They say, this is what we're about. When you get there, they say, this is what we're about. Now, do you think you can get with this? And person, yeah. But it don't simply stop at yeah. Because it is culture and it's set, it permeates. And that's why I said, I understand what you're saying, but it permeates from head coach down to GM, from owner down to GM, from GM down to head coach, from head coach down to assistant coach, from assistant coach down to the player, the star player, from the star player down to the other players, and now it's infectious.
Yeah. Yeah.
The standard that has been set becomes infectious. That if it don't infect you, then you can find your way out. They have something, see, and that's the key to their success. They have something not everybody else has, that not everybody else can duplicate. I venture to say that even the janitors that clean the bathrooms that work there, and probably some of the best bathrooms you're gonna go in a sports facility because of the culture. The culture that says we demand and command and don't do nothing but breed success. It's like that at two certain schools in college football. That's why they're there every year. Because it's become now, it ain't become we building something, it become a culture. And if you entertain even coming here, the first thing you have to do is get with the culture. Because if you don't get with the culture, there's just certain expectations that when you decide you want to sign with us or come or talk to us, we expect certain things. See, where there is no expectation, there's lackluster. That's why, and I hate this, there's a certain thing that's going to be going on in the next few weeks. And I'm going to be changing because it's building a culture. And I'll see who want to get with that culture. And some of them back there, they know what I'm saying. And we're going to create a whole new culture. Because that is what will breed success. The Almighty. Now, how do I bring it back to him? That's what he meant. When we go to the book, knowing that analogy I just gave, let's go to the book of Amos. Now they're telling you to cut it down, huh? They're telling you to turn it up, now they're telling you to cut it down. That's Israel, that's us, huh? There you go, brother. There you go.
It was a hot box.
Huh?
30 hands running.
Yeah, you were losing pounds by the minute, boy.
Keep one.
Amos, 3rd chapter.
Amos chapter 3.
Uh-huh.
Hallelujah.
Verse 1.
Hallelujah. Hear this word that Yahweh has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Why don't you hear this that he's spoken against us? He didn't say he spoke against everybody. He said, hear what I've spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Against the whole family.
Against that whole family.
Which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying.
That I brought up. Because when I brought you up, I set the standard.
Hallelujah.
Moses didn't set the standard.
Right.
That's why Moses said, I have taught you laws and statutes and ordinances and testimony as Yahweh have taught me.
All right.
He didn't say, I taught you what I wanted to teach you. I brought you everything that Yahweh have brought me. He is the standard barrier. So when I ask you, I come to you and I teach you that you should regard the Sabbath day and what time you should regard the Sabbath day. That's not the word of Moses. That's not the standards of Moses. I'm not trying to get you to conform to Moses. I'm trying to get you to conform to the Most High. When he say, be ye clean, be ye holy, for I am holy. That's not my standard. That is the standard of the Most High. And he has given you the path to holiness. Mind, body, and spirit. What can you do? See, we're going to try these as much as we can. See, I like to do that, but we're going to work them in. What can you do to sustain life? Walk in the path of Yah. Because first, the life you want to sustain is a life Listen to me, brother. A life you want to sustain is a life that don't just stop right here. I'm talking about eternal life.
All right.
I will phase out of this life. And there's nothing I can do to stop that from transpiring because that's been set in the creation of man. So you got to understand the creation of man. And never did the Almighty say in creation, he created him to live long. He created him and gave him the pathway to live eternal. But even Yah said, from dust thou art, and thus shalt thou return. Even he said that. But he gave him the pathway to reach eternal life. Because what is more important? What will reach eternal life? That's the spirit. So you as a being must walk in the spirit of Yah. The spirit must be holy. For if the spirit is holy, then the body will attach itself to the spirit and become holy. If the expectation is holiness in the spirit, then the body will become to the spirit and be holy. If it is defiled in the spirit, then the body will be defiled. If you accept not the word of Yah in your spirit, then you have no chance in your body. So you don't live saying, can I take this to sustain me? Can I take that to sustain me? The only thing you're interested in taking in this realm as we pass through this life is righteousness. With the hopes and the knowledge fulfilled and the promise, which he never breaks, because that's part of his compassion. That if you do this, A, B, C, and D, I will return unto you and reward you in a much better time. Not in the time of confusion and desolation, which is what Babylon signifies. See, too many of us looking and getting caught up for right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we're looking for the standards of men. We live in a world of men.
Yes, sir.
And that's why the spirit is at war. But this is spiritual war. This is spirit you must get to. That's why the Almighty says,
You own,
you own it.
have I known,
Yes.
of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Because I gave you something that was of spirit. I gave you things that was essential to your spiritual development. Higher than any, not that other nations didn't have, but higher than all the other nations. That no matter how high they was, when they came to you, your standards of living, no matter how great theirs was, your standards of living was to be far and beyond theirs.
Right.
I showed and we showed that illustration with Queen of Sheba when she came to Solomon.
Hallelujah.
For as great as she was, and as much as she possessed, she was no match for when she came and saw the standard, the culture that he had instilled within Jerusalem, because that's what we're talking about.
All right.
There was that certain culture that he just didn't settle for anything less than perfection. That's why I said the forks, the placement of their dinnerware, their eating ware, the placement of the chairs and the seats. Things you see in movies that we look at and we be like, that they got directly from you. The placement of how men just stood there at attendance. Because with this, what we talked about last week, see, I'll see who took notes and who paid attention. 3 keys of success: humility,
Discipline.
Discipline.
discipline,
Now let somebody else. Ownership.
ownership. Discipline will supplant disorder. In Babylon, there's a lot of disorder because there's not a lot of discipline.
All right. Go ahead, all right.
Discipline will trump disorder.
Every time.
Oh, every time, anytime.
And when you have this discipline, it makes things run so much smoother. When things are out of order, when you're going to get dressed and you got things in this house and you look at, well, where is that? Because things all over the place. Now you run and you hopping. We've got 15 minutes. Because there's no order, no discipline. That's why you go to the military. That's what it's for. It's the drill. When they get you there, they know you undisciplined.
Yep.
So when they first get you there, before you even get off, go, go. That starts as soon as you get there. Go. They are disciplining you. They are setting the bar and the standard. They can't get you out the bus. Come on, y'all. Get off the bus now. Hey, come on now. Get off the bus. Stop dragging your feet. Get off the bus. They can't do that from day one because it don't set no standard. From day one, when you touch down, bam, you get oh, we ain't at home no more, Dorothy. You in a whole nother culture. They giving you a whole nother mind. Not talking about if we agree with it or not, but it's a whole nother mind, and you know where you at now. And they make it plain. You ain't at home no more. Fall in. And it's discipline. Huh?
Yes, sir.
This how you gonna make your bed up.
Yeah, exactly like this.
When they look at it, it's one little corner wrong.
All of it. Matches too.
Make it all up again. Man, what is this? What is this?
Yes.
My grandmama can make a bed.
Your shoes.
No shine.
Don't you? I better see my face. Huh?
Yes, sir.
You did, but they. But when they get done with you,
Yes.
when they get done with that unit, you see a unit that walks bang, bang, lock, stock, something that they can then, the hierarchy stand back and be like, look at my boys. Watch them.
No command, no word.
And nobody is struggling, nobody's out of,
No, get out.
bang, bang, crisp and clean.
There's something to see. Organized you.
We're not talking about if we agree with what they do. We're talking about the principles.
Organization, something to see. See, brother.
That's what they brought out. That's what they brought out into Islam. See, they only took principles from things.
Hallelujah.
The FOI, that's not, no, they took principles. That's why those drills, when you see them drill, those are military drills. Anybody that been in the military or had anything to do, they recognize them same drills that them brothers doing.
Yes.
They have just changed the cadence.
Yes.
Full Farrakhan, they just changed the cadence.
That's it.
But the principles, it was straight out of military.
Yes, sir.
Because we're talking about principles. We're talking about standards. And that's what the Almighty has said. That when you let him come into your life, how do you sustain life? You only sustain life by letting the Almighty come into you. That's how you sustain life. By letting y'all come into your life. You live 100 years, but if you haven't lived it in righteousness, then you lived it in vain. You can live one day, but if you lived it in righteousness, then you lived a lifetime. That's why it says, teach us how to number our days. Teach us how to take ownership. We all know the saying, we say it all the time, because tomorrow is not promised. It's only by his compassion, which is a blessing. Which is a blessing. They're not void of one another. That's wrapped up in his blessing. That I have compassion on you. That is my blessing. That's why you say I'm blessed. Because I can look at some of my people that's not blessed. See what you've done to them. But you show me great compassion even in the face of my enemies. Especially in the land of our confusion. But with his compassion, which is a part of the blessing that he bestowed, there is expectation. And what's Yah's expectation? See, the quiet thing is, he only wants the best for us.
Hallelujah.
But you have to be disciplined. I've been searching and praying and wondering why, as a conductor, this class and so many in here have been feeling the grips of the Almighty. But then as the scripture says, and even myself, but as the scripture says, he said, fear not the chastisement of Yah, for whom Yah loveth, he correcteth, as the Father and the Son whom he loved. So he gonna whip us until he discipline us for greater things. Because in the end, he only wants great things for us. But you cannot give great things to him who don't have a mind for greatness. Who don't expect greatness. Because he cannot appreciate greatness. Who have not set the bar so high even for himself. And the truth of the matter is, many of us have not. We have learned from captivity to settle. We've learned to settle. That's all it is. This is as good as it can get. I ain't getting no more.
Right. Can't do no better than this.
The Almighty is saying, what is this?
All right.
What is this? My sons and daughters are never to think like that. My sons and daughters are supposed to be kings, queens, not arrogant, but they're supposed to carry themselves in a manner that they run the world. Like I said, not an arrogancy, but act like you know. Have an expectation about you. Have good financial success. But if you don't expect and your expectation is not good financial success, then you will never achieve it. If it's not in your spirit, you will never will it. Surpass the expectation that Babylon has placed for you. I'm shameful sometimes. My baby girl, where's she at? There she is. Pretty baby girl. And I ain't gotta say nothing that even my brothers ain't admitted. Because they admitted it just the other night. They said, we got this, we got that. They said, but Psalm, come to school, we done. And it is. Because when her mind, and she bring home good mid, she bring home midterm. She, Daddy, give my midterm, give my midterm. And I'm looking at it, and it says A, B, A, A, A. And I love that. But you know what I said? I said, next midterm it'll be better, won't it? She said, yeah. And when she said, yeah. And she mean that. And she go and she get busy trying to make it better because it's the expectation. Now, huh?
All right.
You got one kid that graduated from Harlem Hills. I didn't even know this possible. They said young cat GPA
Oh, yeah.
was a 4.75 or 5.5, something like that. I said all I knew was 4, and I didn't even reach that. He done blew past that. Blew the SET and they blew him out the water. Where they were questioning the legitimacy of it. Just blew him away, bang. Do you see? With a mind like that, not saying, because like I said earlier, there is circumstances, things in life. So it's not saying life is guaranteed, but with a mind like that, he's setting himself up for a certain type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
With what's expected from himself. Do you expect success? Do you see success? It's a lot of things, what we talked about earlier. When that, it's not big things. It's a succession of little decisions that we make in our life. And those are pertain on your expectations. What kind of woman do you expect to have?
All right.
See, you have no expectations of what you want, and you just going out here grabbing somebody willy-nilly, then that's what you're going to get. Somebody willy-nilly. Maybe Willie over here and Nilly right there.
Bring it on.
But what do you expect her? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Moray, go ahead.
Go ahead, Moray.
You don't want no slave.
That's right.
But you have expectations. There are certain things, I teach this because like I said, I got a son. I got sons. And one day, like Rod said, one day, when I tell them, they'll find somebody. One day, I'll let them know that when that day comes. Yeah, she gonna find somebody when she 80 something. Yeah. One day. But what I do try to instill in him is have an expectation. Have an expectation. And does that person meet your expectation? Because there's nothing wrong with having a standard. Because it's worse to have a standard and bring somebody in that don't live up to the standard, and then you have to live with that.
Watch out now.
You're gonna be crying day and night. You're gonna be wishing day and night. Oh, I wish. Oh, then you see other girls or another woman that might appear to have that standard, doing things, and you'll be wondering, going home looking and wondering, going home looking, and you'll be all messed up. Don't think I'm teaching something that's far-fetched, because that's what Abraham told his servant. My son, when you find a woman, she needs to fit a certain criteria. Well, if I don't find it, then leave him alone. But don't bring home nobody that he got to settle for, because he's going to be miserable. Huh? Can we talk for this last few minutes? And that's why the Almighty put a whole beautiful chapter back here in Proverbs 31. A whole beautiful chapter.
Hallelujah.
And is this a man telling his son what he look for?
No.
Who set the standard? This is the standard for her son.
All right. Hallelujah.
Of what to look for. Don't bring no gal in here.
Right. Bring no gal in
No
here.
gal in here that don't do this.
All right.
You bring a lady in here that knows something about this. Now, if a mother did that for her son, see, this is why you need both parents. As a pops, you better believe I'm sitting there when she bring him over. Why your daddy got his blade out?
Right.
Looking at me all crazy. What's up with you, boy? Oh, Mr. Israel. I love your daughter. Yeah, but love ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. What's up with you? What's in your mind? Huh? Where you going? No, too many of us. Come back 6 months when you ain't got so many of us.
There you go.
She'll be here.
Not today.
She'll be here. That's your job to interview him.
That's right.
But if she interview him, she gonna interview him the wrong way. Y'all know what I'm saying? Your job is to set a standard. See, Babylon confusion has taught us the wrong way. Because what Babylon has done, that's why the Almighty said, see, setting the standard, look what the Almighty said. Go to Jeremiah 51. Because that's where we received many of our standards from. And then finding out we conflicted. Because so many of us, we lived in Babylon and by Babylonian standards at one point in time in our life. Now we got to phase over into a different standard, trying to find our way. Because for many of us, we did not grow up with the high standard of Israel set in our home. There was no standard. There is the confusion of Babylon and all the lies and deceit and misdirection that she throw at you, that she throw everywhere, because she's a whore. So how can she teach righteousness? She confused. So how can it give you clarity? For Yah says in Jeremiah 51:5.
For Israel have not been forsaken.
Israel ain't been forsaken.
Nor Judah of his Elohim.
Nor Judah of his Elohim, because that's Yahweh's compassion.
of Yahweh of hosts.
And his compassion is a blessing. So we have not been forsaken. He had compassion, because if he didn't have compassion on us, as he said, you would have been like Sodom, and you would have been as the inhabitants of Gomorrah. But I have had compassion on you, even in the land of your enemies.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
That's why you're here. That's why you're allowed to find yourself even in the land of your enemies. Because it ain't by their compassion, because they tried their hardest to destroy you.
Yes, sir.
They have showed you no compassion.
Good.
And compassion they show you is like poison.
All right. Worse thing.
So we've not been forsaken, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. But then the Almighty says, verse 6,
He out of the midst of Babylon.
back that up, select the rewind. Read that right.
Flee.
Well, let me read it then, because you got to read that like a herald. Flee out the midst of Babylon. This is an extreme directive. Flee. In other words, get yourself together and get out of there.
Hallelujah.
First, spiritual. Get out of there. Get out of everything that she has to offer to you, because it's fool's gold. It's not real. You're going to get it in your hand and it's going to fall through like quicksand, and you'll be left with nothing. And if you don't know how to separate yourself, you'll get entangled in the day of my wrath when I come. Because I won't know to separate you from them, all because of your standard of living. I won't see no difference to carve you out and hide you in my pavilion when I start destroying. Because your standard is their standard. So the wise man, he say, flee out the midst of Babylon. Deliver every man his soul, not your neighbor's soul.
All right.
Help him, but you can't deliver nobody but you. And it's a chore in getting your life straight.
Hallelujah.
Deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. We're talking about they wrapped up in the street. That's Babylon's iniquity.
Yeah.
Your kind ain't the only one. They all out there wrapped up in the street. And that's Babylon's iniquity. That false dream. That gangster dream. That pimp's dream.
Yeah.
That cream.
Say,
Cash rules everything around. Chasing fools gold. That's Babylon's iniquity. Where you miss living for the essential things in life, which is a good, sound mind, which leads to a good, sound body, which is directed by a good, sound spirit, which brings you peace of mind.
hallelujah. Hallelujah.
But when you live in the confusion and the chaos of Babylon, you can't have these things.
All right.
And that's why people are exploding on people, shooting up people, shooting up places. Because the facade of Babylon and living for the life of Babylon, the confusion of Babylon is taking a toll. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this, understand what you coming into. You coming into the time of Yah's vengeance. He's done with Babylon. He's done with it. And when he's done with it, he said he will render unto her recompense. He's done with her. For Babylon have been, this is all she's been to him. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunk. They went and spread, as they say, democracy. Now, a lot of people would hate to hear me, you're anti-man. Get out of here. When you say you're going to spread democracy, I know what you're going to do. We're going to liberate this country. I know what you're going to cause havoc and chaos and confusion. There's people that haven't been touched by Babylon and they've been living for thousands of years untouched and getting along just fine. But when they let Babylon in, it goes to hell in a handbasket. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Look what they're doing in Tanzania. How many of y'all heard? Huh? Over in Tanzania.
That's where the one island that no
That's in Africa.
and there's an island over in that area that has never been inhabited.
No, I think you're talking about Australia.
Oh, okay.
But in Tanzania and Africa, they have just levied a severe fine, if caught, and maybe even up to 12 years of jail time if you were caught giving your seed, planting seeds for your crops, giving your seeds to your sister or your brother or your neighbor, or selling them.
What? That's what we're trying to do over here.
Yes, if you have some seed, because they have all natural organic seed because they live in a country that's rich, that produces that. And if I'm planting and I say, well, my brother want to start some crop, and I give him seed, I just give it to him. Well, my sister, I just give it to her. Lo and behold, I sell it. It's illegal to do so. To give. And I can face 12 years of jail time. Now, who is the big backers of this? The G8 countries. And the two countries that's put in a corner or a stranglehold on all seas. Monsanto and the other company, it slips my name right now. But they're behind this. Because they want people, because the goal is to have to come to them. And they have seeds that only produce one generation of growing. And then, so you got to see the horizon. With power like that, especially countries that's growing things with power like that, and countries that's growing things like Tanzania, and import and export that's their trade. I have great power because now I tell you, Zara, if you don't bow down to me, you don't grow nothing. Because you got to get your seed from me. Now, if you got to get your seed from me, you under the edict of everything I tell you to do, except everything that I levy for you to do. Even running your country. Babylon has been a cup, a golden cup in Yah's hand. And it made all the earth drunk. The nations have drunken her wine, and therefore the nations that have done so, they mad. But the Creator says in verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her. If so, she may be healed. Then look at verse 9. It said, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So forsake her. She had a time to be healed. She had a time to do the right thing. That time is long gone. Long gone. So forsake her and let us go. And this is what nations and nationalities are going to say. Let us go, everyone, into his own country. Yeah. But now they're saying, let's get out that pot and let's go. Let's go back to home. That what old boy is meeting when he say, I'm meeting now, I'm talking with my brothers in South Korea. But we one people. They came over here and made us drunk, telling you about democracy. And they created a North and a South Korea. But you got blood uncles and aunts and nephews. And the only thing to separate them is a little bitty line of demarcation saying North and South. And they kinfolk because they came over here and got y'all drunk off of this thing that they had to offer, the cup they offered to you. We should let every man go to his own country. Why? For her judgment, just as in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. But Yahweh have brought forth all righteousness. It's a terrible time we get ready to enter to, but it's never been a better time for the sons and daughters of Yah who's serious about being the sons and daughters of Yah and who's ready to live up to his expectations. Because the Almighty is in this time bringing forth your righteousness. Things that people laughed at you about years ago, they won't be laughing so much longer as things keep going. Your way, which is Yah's way, if you have adopted, is going to be proven to be the best way. Yahweh have brought forth all righteousness. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh, our Elohim. Let us declare his loving kindness, and my brother saying, and his compassion, and his mercy. Because all of this is his blessing. Go to Deuteronomy 30. See, it is a loving, although this is a real confused place, as I've always said, it's his compassion that we were born here.
All right. Yeah.
Because we get to find out a million things, and that's why a lot of your brothers and sisters, they's talking to you and they asking when y'all getting yourself together, because y'all the head.
Yep.
You the head. And y'all afforded so much that's still even hidden from us, because y'all have so much available to you to help you get yourself back to reclaiming who you are. We waiting on y'all. The world is waiting on you to move. Deuteronomy 3rd chapter.
Yes, sir. Hallelujah.
Start at verse 30.
Hallelujah.
Because that's the full, you have to take the Almighty in the fullness thereof. You have to take him by everything. Start at verse 1. I'm sorry, 3rd chapter, verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 30,
Uh-huh.
verse 1.
Yes.
And it came to pass,
Yes, it did.
when all these things are come upon thee.
It will come to pass.
I'm sorry, and it shall come to pass.
Yes.
When all these things are come upon thee,
Uh-huh.
the blessing
Blessing
and the curse,
and curse.
which I set before thee,
Because I'm going to throw both of them there.
and thou shalt call them to mind
You'll call them to mind.
among all the nations.
You'll call the blessings to mind because you'll say to yourself, I remember when. You'll call the cursing to mind because you'll say, you're living under that.
Yeah.
You discount me, all you got to do is talk because we do it every day. I remember when. I remember when. I remember down south when. I remember when we had. I remember when we had. I remember when we were at Black, we were tighter, we were knit, we were doing this, we were doing that. Because we were close to that law that the Almighty said in your heart and in your mouth. So you fantasize and you say, I remember when. But now you say, well, we live in this. We live in violence. We live in object property. We live in subjugation. You call both on the mind. You call the blessing and the cursing to mind.
Among all the nations.
Among where?
All the nations.
Every nation.
Whether Yahweh thy Elohim have driven thee.
Yes.
And shall return unto Yahweh thy Elohim.
Uh-huh.
And shall obey his voice.
You should return to him and obey his voice.
According to all that I command thee this day. Thou
You
and thy children.
your children,
With all thy heart.
with all your heart,
And with all thy
and
soul.
with all your soul. Because if you do that, then
Yahweh thy Elohim
will what?
will turn thy captivity.
Turn that captivity.
And have compassion upon thee.
Have compassion on you.
And return and gather thee from all the nations.
See, that's why he have compassion. I remember my brother one time say, man, well, you know, Israel is being stricken. And things is happening, but it's not happening to Israel that I know. It's happening to us, but that's the Israel that don't know the Israel. But it's not happening to the Israel that I know. Because the Almighty is compassion.
Hallelujah.
Once you turn, he looketh at you and look upon you with different eyes.
Hallelujah.
Can we stay right there for a minute? Because something being said very important. Now, the blessing is to be, like it stated in 28, verses 1 through 15. To be the lender, not the borrower. To be the leader, not the follower. To be the ruler, not to be ruled over. To be the producers, not the consumers. To be the landowner and not the landless. To produce the food and not have to go and get food how we do it in a polluted land, whether we grow it or go to the supermarket or to the farmer's market. Now, the compassion is that we have turned and we're not being knocked upside the head. Our doors ain't being kicked in by the ATF. We're not out on the street without a roof over our head. We woke up today because the Most High is compassionate upon us to allow us to live another day to give praises to the Most High one more time. the compassion is from Shabbat to Shabbat, and we
Yeah.
always say, that's compassion. Now the blessing is, because that's why I want to explore it, is to be at the number one spot, not number two, not number three, not number four, not number five, and especially not number 100. And that's the blessing that I think that I have begun to understand because it was brought to my attention, so I'm exploring it with us here. That the blessing was to be what the Most High had restored in verses 1 through 15 in Deuteronomy 28. But since the Most High is compassionate and long suffering, He provides a way for us in this place here that we live. That's what I want to explore.
And very good.
Hallelujah.
And very good. And it is, because I was looking up something as well. And the Almighty said that He should feed you with the heritage of Yahweh, of Yaakov, your father. And then then I looked at something. The Almighty said, and I will cause you. But this is what some people have missed. They say, remain to the land. I say, yes, that's part of it. Because to have your land is always a game changer. It's always a game changer. But the Almighty also said, I will feed you with cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth. See, that's what I was talking about earlier, circumstances. You can have your circumstances, but your circumstances don't define you. And I have so many examples that of Daniel. He was truly blessed. Because now, even in captivity, Daniel could call shots with his blessing. This the food I want. This what again, going back to Israel, he could now, once he found favor with Yah, he set his own set of expectations, even living amongst Babylonians, Persians, and Medes. He had his own set of standards that he got to a certain point that kings didn't even question. Especially when they understood that he was so divinely blessed, and they understood it when they saw him thrown in the midst of the lion den. You can't get no more blessed than that. To be thrown in the midst of the den and there is no hurt to you. Now they understand very well what they're dealing with and who they're dealing with. The expectations. And I do agree with you because I even said it earlier. There is a setting up for receiving the full encompassing promise of the Almighty. Because being here, we will never receive it in full. Because that's why the Almighty tell you, I will take you out of this land. Just as he's saying right here. To give you what fully is vested in you, I have to take you from here. Just like when I punished you, I took you from there. So I have to reverse that. I have to reverse that. But in the midst of reversing that, I'm going to show, if you fully vested in me, I'm going to show you compassion and you receive blessings. Because your seed, if you return, your seed don't have to be a proverb and a byword. We remain a proverb and a byword because we let people keep us a proverb and a byword. No, I'm saying N-I-G-G-A. And they saying N-I-G-G-E-R. It's all the same to me. It's just one you choose, it's a little more palatable. You choose to accept it. Your fruit don't have to be cursed. We choose to deal with Planned Parenthood.
All right.
When the Almighty said that is none of your way. You can't find a way of a civilized folks that accept anything like that. They said, well, I'm pro-choice too. Choose before you lay down.
All right.
Come on.
Make your choice. This pro-choice. Now you want to lay down. Now you want to find out you and him ain't so compatible. You and her ain't so compatible. Namely, you and him ain't so compatible. And now the most innocent part of that equation, you want to end this life before it's ever started. And it's the most innocent part of that whole equation. As I said, this is something that should have been thought about. Because with the Almighty law, it would be. I get hold for a minute. Everybody talking about boycott. I hear them on the radio all the time. They call, man, we got to boycott this, we got to boycott this, we got to boycott this. And they don't know that following the Almighty law is a built-in boycott every 7 days.
Hallelujah.
Every 7 days in captivity, he done gave you a built-in boycott by following his law. If Israel said, did what Yah said when he said, not your own business, no commerce, no mall shopping, no football games, no entertainment. If Israel had the spirit and heart to receive Yahweh, not even in captivity, that's a built-in voice. And I guarantee you, the enemy will be singing a different song. Them folks, we don't get their money. We gotta hear them now. We gotta hear them now. He built in everything. He built it in the return to him. He built in every solution to our problems with our adversary.
Hallelujah.
Now I don't know. That's compassion, and it sounds like a blessing to me. The only reason why it's not a blessing is because we don't grab the blessing. He'll finish the rest of the work, but we don't even begin the work for him to finish. It's compassion and the blessing that I no longer bend to a stock and stone that can't save me because it can't save itself. That's a blessing. Because he sure ain't blessed a bunch of my peoples that's at home right now thinking that I'm doing the wrong thing and they doing the right thing. That's why another song the 12 Tribes has it. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Truly a blessing to even know that I'm a Hebrew Israelite.
Hallelujah.
That's a blessing bestowed. That's a blessing. When I can go home and sit amongst all my peoples and you can ask them, who are you? What are you? What are you? What are you? And you might get, I'm nothing. Then they come to you and say, what are you? And you say, I'm an Israelite.
Hallelujah.
The son of the Most High. Man, that ain't no trivial thing. That's compassion, and that's a blessing of Yah all day long.
Hallelujah.
That's a helping. You got it. That's a helping in reversing the curse.
All right.
Because before I understood that, I lived all in the curse.
But just explore what you just said, because there is a line between the compassion and the blessing. They're on separate sides of the frequency, I'll say. It is that we should have been destroyed for breaking the everlasting covenant and turning our back on the power that led our fathers out of ancient Egypt. And so to live how we live now is not, as far as I can see, this is really not a blessing. It's compassion that the Most High allowed us to find ourselves. That's the long suffering of the Most High for people that turned their backs on Him. And so through His compassion, He allowed us, if we wanted to, on making the right decision, to find ourselves. But the blessing is to be the controller, not the controller. The blessing is to be the leader and be the World Bank and not tomorrow. So that foreigners would turn us down if our credit rating is not at a certain height. That's not a blessing, that's a compassion. If we do get the loan in this place, that's the kindness and the loving kindness of the Most High. But that's not the blessing, because the blessing was to loan the nations the money and not borrow from the nations. The blessing was to show the world how to worship the Most High and not them show us who He's supposed to worship. And it's a blessing, a compassion that we woke up.
Yes. And I think and we're not far apart.
No, we're not far apart.
For me, the blessing, and this is what I want to stress. The blessing is the fact that I even have the breath of life. Yeah, the other things become existential things. But for me, it's the fact that I even have the breath of life to get up every day and make, to a degree, make those things happen. See, I'm going to tell you as a man, because I don't mind telling my story. I'm going to tell you as a man, like I tell the class, who haven't had good credit since heck was a puppy. The last year I had good credit was probably 1991. It's been a mess, huh? It's been such a mess where it reads, don't even run it when they go to run it. Don't run. That's what it reads. It come back, don't run it. But now it's not doing that, because the blessing of many years of Yahweh's compassion being upon me and bringing me up to this point. And you say, why did it take you almost 50 years old? Because who knows? But the blessing that He done endured me for that long, now to see that trend reversing, because now it's going up and up and up. And what they're showing me is I am changing with the Almighty. I am changing my circumstances and my condition in life, because I was also the one that helped put myself there. Like Israel was the one that helped put themselves under the curses. They must come to the realization nobody else but them will help them get back to the blessing. And the Almighty have compassion on them to endure them long enough, hopefully, for them to realize this, to get back to the blessing. So the blessing for me starts with the fact of every day He go, and my eyes open, and my mind come back to me, and my faculties is there, And I can rise up and I can say, everything that I did wrong yesterday, let me get a chance to correct it. Now that them notices and them bills come in, that old man that used to just say, well, let me put this back in the thing, hide it, because if I hide it, it'll go away. That old man say, let's tackle these now. Let's own these now. Let's get these out the way now. Let's get off from under this man. Then the bigger blessing becomes that I don't chase everything that he offered me anyway, because I have another standard in life. He want me to have 10 credit cards so I'll be in debt. Who to say I gotta accept all them offers? I know what you're trying to do to me. You're trying to keep me in debtor prison. I need one, maybe two, and I use them judiciously at my whim for what I want. That way I stay off from under you. They little loan company, I use them for what I want. Paying off, gotta pay. Now they call me every week. You know, Miss Israel, you qualify for another. Now, I said, I know I do. Thank you. I'll think about it. Sure, they want me to, because now I got to start all over again paying you money. But then the Almighty said, why go that route when once we get done paying this off? If you be disciplined, remember? If you be disciplined, that same money you taking to pay them off, you can pull that, put that in an account, and that's your money that you building. He blessed the mind. He blessed the mind. He blessed the spirit. And then that's the first blessing. Then everything else starts to come into view. Brother Kawhi, and then we get ready to wrap up. I don't think we might even have to table this for next week. But Brother Kawhi, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment on that. I would say that I believe that the Almighty's compassion is a blessing to us. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times we focus on the end result. And because I think that that's the way that, you know, like the magician tells you, look here, look here, look here, look here. You know what I mean? But like you just said, when we get that breath of life every day, we able to see another day. And having that chance and then having that experience and making that experience, living it, you know, the day out each and every day on a continuous basis, living that day out to the maximum capacity of positivity, you know what I mean, within the realms of the Almighty. That's the blessing. That's also the compassion to be able to experience that while we are here. You know, I can't say that I feel like they are two sides or on opposite sides of frequency. You know what I mean? I think that they are one and the same, because when we look at it and we see or we hear blessing, the scriptures say you can bless Yah, you can bless his name. You know what I mean? So you got to ask yourself at that point, what is a blessing, what it really is. And I believe, I mean, in my experience, I would say that it is the sending of positive spiritual energy. You know, that Almighty has ability that we don't have, or that, you know, I don't know that we have, which is to send specific spiritual positive energy. You know, but we can send a blessing to the Almighty and sending that positive energy back to them. You know
And I'm glad you said that, because that's what I've been trying to get us to see. Because that's what the Almighty has been showing me. And that's my focus. And that's what I think needs to be highlighted and focused. You said the Almighty has the ability to send positive energy. And he does. And that's why Yahweh said, and I have said in Psalm 82, I have said, ye are B'nai Elohim, sons of Elohim. And if you be sons of Elohim, then as I said, like your son. Your son has certain traits that just came to him, passed on from you. So he can do certain things. He might have the strength that you have because it was just passed on to you. That is, y'all see, that is why that is why the wicked is trying to keep you. Because there are things passed on to you. It is aura. This ain't foreign things. Still speaking of what we're talking about, expectation. What do you expect? What is your expectation at home? What standards are set at home? Is it chaos? Is it chaotic? Because if that is the expectation, when you go home, that is what will meet you there. If you at home and your expectation is that of discipline, order, orderly fashion, when you get home, that is what will be there. What you have, the environment you have created. Now, not to say that if things don't change, because like I said, the only thing constant is change. But what have you set? Because even in change, you'll be able to deal with the change because you have set a certain way, a set order of things. Go to Psalm 112, and then this is what we'll close out on. Now, like I said, we're not at odds. We're right there with each other because that's all the word of the Almighty. And I know what my brother is saying. But these are the things that he's gonna power on to us. That you'll be in position to handle these things. You'll be in position to have money to lend to other people. But most of us, because of spiritual deprivation, because of where we are spiritually, we're not in a position to get nothing, to run nothing, because we run it into the ground. We don't even know how to, we talk about businesses, but we don't even have a spirit to support one another if they gave us a whole block right now. They can give us a whole block right now and not be scared of nothing because they can come back in about 12 months and be like, watch, we'll get it back. We'll get it back. Because one, they ain't going to support it. That ain't got nothing to do with brick and money and paper and mortar. That's got to do with how they are spiritually. The picture they perceive of themselves, and they perceive of themselves. I hear it all the time. I ain't going to that nigga and get him to do nothing for me, and he ain't gonna do it right. That's the expectation. Rather complain about going there, but you're gonna go there, than to go and help your brother do something for yourself. Won't even do nothing for ourselves. I should whip myself all this knowledge, all this, and I got the lumber, I got the material, and I still ain't put my raised bed up. And it's getting late in the season. Yeah. I need to be flogged. Because I'd rather get in my little thing, drive up the street, pay to inspect some tomatoes. You got wax on them. Yeah. He gonna kill us. I'm too shiftless, too ornery, and too lazy to put the plan of Yah in motion and do for myself. That's just the bottom line. That's just real talk. And I'm talking about me. But you put your food in a polluted ground. It's still a better alternative than what we know is coming from their hand. It's a little better alternative to do something for yourself. That's like me saying, and like me watching who watch my kids better. They care of me. I'd much rather them be in my hands than in their hands.
I just want to say one thing, I'll be done. The Most High's already left on record in Tehillim 133 what would command the blessing. That is how beautiful it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Thank
It's
you.
like the oil that runs down
Thank
the
you.
beard onto the collar of our
And
robe.
let me ask you this. How can that happen if they spirit ain't in unity?
No, this is how it happens. Through prayer, all things have always happened for our people.
Yes.
Through prayer, our people have always been delivered. Through prayer, our people was given a land of inheritance of our very own. Through
But-
prayer.
And thank you, because one of the greatest prayers says this. One of the greatest prayers says this. See, and then we're gonna read 112 and then we're gonna dismiss. Because we can't get caught up in sentiments as well. Because one of the greatest prayers that's prayed says this. If my people, which are called by my name, shall start doing some things, not just simply words, but they have to humble themselves, seek my face, turn from their which we don't want to do, don't want to let it go. If they do these things, that's in the prayer. Then will I hear them from heaven, maintain their cause, heal their land. Because they deserving of it once they have revolutionized themselves.
Exactly.
And then I will complete the process that they have started. But if they never start the process, I cannot complete that process.
All right.
Now go to Psalm 112.
You know what I know? Who would not want to grow their own food? Who in the world would sit up and would prefer with all this knowledge of the Almighty and tell the young people and up and coming is still polluted, but I'd rather eat yours that I know you tried to poison me than me by my own. What message are we sending?
I don't have nothing to come back from that because that's futile.
And let me say this. Let me say this. That's right. Everything like I said, turn to 112. We're gonna go there.
Hallelujah.
But I know what I know, and that's all I know. And as I said, my grandfather, he got the moniker or nickname Big Daddy. Now he got the moniker or nickname Big Daddy because down there in Georgiana, Alabama, many years ago, Granddaddy did what y'all said. He built his own house, a 3-story house. He put plumbing in it. Yes, he put plumbing in it. He was the only house to have plumbing. Everybody else was going to outhouses. My mother grew up in a house that had plumbing running from that 3rd floor all the way down into that 1st floor. He did this. He also had a general store. He had a general store. I'm saying this just to make a point. Well, his general store was so nice that not only did the black folks of Georgiana, Alabama go to a general store shop, the white folks come across the railroad tracks. Mr. Miles, how you do today? And Mr. Miles was making a killing off the white folks in Georgiana, Alabama. Now he did some other things that got him in a little trouble, and they chased him. But he stayed in Georgiana, Alabama. In captivity, he was lending. This ain't no story I'm making up. He was a lender to people, and they were borrowing. And I said again, not just his people. I'm talking about people that came over the tracks.
Like Wall Street.
That's the secret why they burnt it down. Because what people don't know, quiet is kept. they started lending to outside sources. The Negro Leagues, quiet as it's kept, was disbanded because they started attracting more whites to their ball games than even blacks. Even in the face of segregation, where they can't sit together, the Negro Leagues filled up parks and were called the white parks. And Major League Baseball was taking a hit. I told y'all the oldest team in Cincinnati is not the Cincinnati Reds, it's the Cincinnati Tigers, an all Negro League team. But nobody knows nothing about them. They know about the Red Sox. In Canada, an all black hockey league. Well, no white player, all black hockey league that whites was coming to see. Power Structure said you can't have that. That's why I want you to read 112. And then we're going to finish on this.
Hallelujah. Psalms 112, verse 1. Praise ye Yahweh.
In other words, hallelujah. Now watch what it says.
Blessed is the man.
Blessed is the man that what?
feareth Yahweh.
That's the first blessing. Blessed is the man that really fears Yahweh, because he will be motivated to do the things that Yahweh have asked him to do. And that can change his whole life.
Hallelujah.
Blessed is that man that feared Yah, that delighted greatly
In his
in his commandments.
His seed.
I'm happy to say my dollars is withheld every 7 days. You don't get it. That's $1 you don't get. And nothing but for them brief hours, you don't get it.
Hallelujah.
Because we greatly delight in the Almighty's commandment.
Hallelujah. Praise God.
He's blessed. His seed shall be what?
Mighty upon the earth.
If he can instill this in the seed, his seed shall be mighty upon the earth.
The generation of the upright shall be blessed.
The generation of the upright shall be blessed.
Wealth
and riches
shall be in his house,
shall be in his house.
and his righteousness endure forever.
And they'll talk about his righteous acts forever, because essentially that's what they'll understand is the great blessing. That was a good brother. Man, that brother, that brother, he would lend me. I seen him lend wife, I seen him lend. As the scriptures say about the righteous, he is ever merciful and lending.
Hallelujah.
I drove down and went down, man, on the side, had some food my mother gave me, and I stopped. And the man, he wasn't like the other people. He wasn't standing with no sign. He was just sitting there. I pulled up to the light. I had 3 salmon patties. I pulled up to the light. I looked over and said, "Come here, sir." He said, "Thank you." Gone. Because I'm blessed.
Hallelujah.
When I go about my way, I'm blessed. Even as bad as I think it is, I'm blessed. And I don't do that just to black folks. I do it to anybody that's destitute. Because that, a man once asked me, "How do you know you're blessed?" He said, "When you can pass it on."
Hallelujah.
The upright there arises light in the darkness. This is why you know you're blessed. Your light is able to shine in the darkness. He is gracious. The upright is gracious and full of compassion and righteousness. And he is thus because the Almighty has blessed him by being gracious and full of compassion to him. A good man show favor and lendeth. He will guide his affairs with discretion. See, it ain't telling you to go out and be no fool and just give all your money away, because then you can't help nobody else if you go in the poorhouse. So he's going to show you discretion, but a good man knows how to maneuver in the light of Yah. And surely he will not be moved forever. The righteous shall be in the everlasting remembrance. That's a blessing.
Hallelujah.
He shall not be, this is not a blessing. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in Yah.
Hallelujah.
His heart is established. He shall not be afraid. He shall not be afraid. Watch this. He shall not be afraid. See, we blessed right now. Will we accept it? Because we blessed to know this. We will not, the Almighty can take the sting of fear, and we will not, or the righteous, shall I say, will not be afraid until he see his desires upon his enemies. Till you see this established, that the man that have oppressed you, that tried to keep you from blessing, tried to keep you from realizing you blessed. That's the whole Trump thing about giving our people Christ, because he's something greater that you can never become, when in essence, the Christ figure is talking about Israel. When he said, I'm a son of Israel, that's why he came back and told them, why? What good work do you stone me for? That good work we stone you not, but because you speak blasphemy, saying you a son of Elohim. He said, is it not written in your scriptures that you read every day? You are all children of the Most High, sons of the Most High. Why are you mad that I claim it? Well, don't get mad that I claim it. Get mad that you ain't claiming it and living up to it.
Hallelujah.
Truth of the matter is, he's never claimed divinity. And I'm supposed to be speaking with about 3 or 4 or 5 people. I don't know how great the audience is this week, because they want to understand and they want to know the truth about this Christ figure. So I'm waiting on the brother to call me tonight or tomorrow and set it up for the second day.
All right. Hallelujah.
We blessed to know that this thing gonna end. Many people don't know this gonna end. He have dispersed, he have given to the poor. His righteousness endureth forever. His horn shall be exalted with honor. Then look. See, this is why he don't want you to know you're blessed. He do everything to try to keep you from thinking and knowing you're blessed. Because look what he said at the end. The wicked shall see it and be grieved. When the children of Israel say, I'm blessed of Yah. When they start fearing Yah, the wicked is grieved to see that. He grieved to see you. He grieved. They don't woke up. He don't woke up. And then you come with your Isha, a good golly molly. They both done woke up. Now you come with the chip. Now it's a, what is it on that movie, The Incredible? It's a family of them. They all messed up. They grieve. Then nigga wasn't supposed to learn this.
They always ask too. How do you know? How you know that? How did you learn that?
The wicked will see that you're blessed because you fear Yah and be grieved and gnash with his teeth and melt away from you.
Hallelujah.
And the desire of the wicked, which is to destroy you, will perish. Because the Almighty has lighted upon you with a blessing to change the whole course of your family history. Not just your life, but the whole course of your family history. Yours, your son, and your son's son, if you take this blessing and put it to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Live up to the expectations that he has set. The only problem with us is that we don't live up to the expectations. And the other part of the equation that he must fulfill, he will do that. But first, let us at least begin to get our hands dirty. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But we're not apart. We're not apart. Just different perspective. But you were blessed. You're blessed. And you're blessing now all your brothers and sisters when they come in contact with you, because you're going to try to wake them up that they can get blessed with the light of Yah.
All right, okay. Yeah,
And the Almighty compassion is that he endured for us day by day to be here to do such a job.
I know y'all say it's a blessing, but I call it compassion. Because it's the loving kindness that the Most High is bestowing upon us in this land. Now the blessing is gonna come when we go home. That's the big blessing that the Most High talks about.
You know what?
That's the blessing.
I have no problem with you, whether you want to accept his compassion or his blessing, as long as you know the Almighty
Yeah, exactly.
is in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know in our life, and we blessed, if we be blessed, we have a new moon.
Oh, there, 3 days.
Tuesday evening is due to be spotted.
Yeah.
All right?
I mean,
And,
were we not blessed that
and we blessed to know that, because some,
66 miles away, Dayton got
yes,
a
we
death
blessed.
tornado?
I know I was blessed.
And your roof was not tore off, and you didn't have your grandmother lose their life.
I know I was blessed.
Well, when we've been in captivity, as long as we've been in captivity, we have no perspective of what true freedom is and what it means to have your own, and what it means to have your own economy, your own currency,
Can I make that
your
just-
own everything, just as the Most High had it set up in Deuteronomy 28.
Well,
That's the blessing.
yes, sir.
And
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
Let's stand.
Yeah.
Let's stand.
Hallelujah.
Let's adjourn. It's just parts of this blessing. That's all. That's all. Just parts of it. It's like a meal. There's just parts to it. All right? Shema, Yisrael, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Akkad, hear Israel, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh is one. Yivareka, Yahweh Yismereka, Yahi Yahweh, Pneeleka, Watunika, Yisa Yahweh, Pneeleka, Wayasin Leka Shalom. Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yahweh. Yah is righteous all the time. Hallelujah.